Good afternoon and welcome back to Asgard and welcome back to Crackpack. So, God, this episode is probably the most resource intensive I think we've had yet. So I started setting up solar evaporation towers. These first four actually being fed water, just like our brine setup, and are producing brine. I've had these kind of heating up because they do take a decent while to reach a high temperature. I'm not for sure. I know in the past the solar panels could reach the maximum temperature, but and this is going up really, really slow, so I'm going to give it a while. Probably leave it running like when I sleep or something, because it does seem like it takes an extremely long time. But it's possible that we now have to heat it up also with the, the charcoal setup that we used before. We may have to use that in conjunction with the solar panels, to reach maximum temperature. So if that's the case, it's fine. We'll convert that over. But I just wanted to go ahead and get the brine stuff set up and at least heating up a little bit so that we do have some brine production going. Now these two on the end are not set up with anything yet. So if we take a look inside, you'll notice that there is nothing at all. Those are actually going to be taking the brine and changing that over. So this episode, we're going to be mainly focusing on getting all the liquids set up. You'll notice that I have a bag here with lots of crap in it. We're going to be using all this stuff today. And honestly, probably between episodes, I'll continue expanding this system because if we want like a really, really powerful reactor, we're still going to want more of these thermal evaporation towers. Honestly, 4 of these, I think one of these towers at full temperature would actually run that no problem. I want to say you can run like 6 of these or 8 of these through one tower before it'll cap out on efficiency. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's go ahead and plug these up. So I've got some ultimate pipes here. I taught our system how to make all this stuff. But we are going to want the pressurized tubes. And I also got a configurator, which we're going to be using to set this up. And by the way, I have transfer nodes. Each of these right now has 21 world interaction upgrades. Because I'm trying to do it with just, one of these. Instead of having multiples of these, it's really the same outcome, I think. So once we get these things up to maximum temperature, I'll see if that's enough water production. If it's not, I may add some more world interaction upgrades to that. But it seems to be keeping up, at least at the moment. And is that not... Oh, that's... Whoops, wrong pipe. We want the fluid one. This one here. I get all these mixed up because instead of being like fluid pipe, it's like mechanical pipe, pressurized tube, universal cable, so on. So, alright, so we'll plug this up. And then we'll run it on back. Actually, I don't have to shift on those. And there we go. That's all the brine. And I guess we'll go ahead and pull it out to there as well. Now over here, we're going to say... Oops. We're going to say you're going to push, and you're going to push. You're going to pull, 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 and pull. Okay, so all the brine should be getting pulled out of these and sent over into the other towers. Now you'll notice that this is dropped down, and yeah, it looks like we're going to need even more water production because that's actually dropping steadily with 21 world interaction upgrades. So we shall see. But you'll notice this has been getting brine and has changed it over into liquid lithium. So that's one of the things that we're going to want as far as moving forward with our reactor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I made a couple of these because we're going to put some of these on the front, I do believe. So let's go ahead and actually break that. And that. And these do keep their heat and their liquids and all that stuff. Now, what we're going to want to do, I actually need power from this tesseract. But anyway, we're going to run these through rotary condensators. And I actually made more of these, I think, than I'm going to need right this second. But we may use these moving forward because, like I said, I want to expand this setup. But for now, we'll just use like one of these, I think. Maybe two. We'll see. And I went ahead and grabbed some of these. I'm just going to run power out from the Tesseract for right now with this. And then we'll end up changing this up. I was actually looking into possibly doing like a solar setup in this dimension since it's always day. You know, I really wish we had environmental tech in this pack. But I'm considering putting some kind of a solar setup here. Maybe even right here from Solar Flux, because each of these generate 4,096 per tick. But they are very, very, very expensive to make, because you have to basically tier work all of these solar panels, and then all of this, and all of this. You need tons of machine frames and energy cells, and but I'm gonna see, it shouldn't be too bad if we just teach our system to auto craft all of it, which is kind of what I'm thinking. But anyway, we'll run this to like right here, I guess, and we'll set up our rotary condensator, and then we're gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and run our liquids pipes, and we'll connect it up into here. Oops. Is it this side? There we go. Okay. And let me grab my configurator again, which I've noticed this thing like never runs out of power. We'll set that one to push, and these to pull. And I'm actually thinking about setting up some kind of a CobbleWorks or a CobbleGen. Okay, so it's pulled all the liquid lithium. I never showed it. Okay, so then we're going to set it to toggle operation. And you'll notice it's taking that liquid lithium and creating just normal lithium. I wonder why it took it a little while to come up in the GUI. But anyway, it's changing that liquid lithium over into normal lithium. It is a little bit slow, so you know what? We're going to go ahead and set up another rotary condensator. And we'll set this one to push as well. Toggle operation. And so we got that one producing lithium now as well. So anyway, it's building up at a decent pace. We will want to expand this. I'm sure of it. So I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and add another rotary condensator for now, and we'll probably keep expanding this. Now, if you want to get a lot of energy, honestly, even a small setup of this can produce massive energy. Massive energy. But a super large scale build of this, you will have energy for days. You will not have to worry about energy at all. So that's kind of what we're going for. I will do some other power gen in the future in this series, but I do want to go really crazy with this setup. So anyway, now that we're producing our lithium, the next thing that I want to do is I want to send this stuff through solar neutron activators. And you are going to need a few of these, like a fair number of these. So you'll notice I actually crafted up a decent amount of them. And I'm not wearing my power armor, by the way, because it catches me on fire here because it's so hot. Honestly, I'm probably going to be changing out our armor fairly soon. I think it's about time. But anyway, we're going to bring our power cables out, which honestly I don't know why I did that. Honestly, I might long-term build over this floor and have this facades, and this will be all ground level or something. We'll see. We'll kind of play around with, I'm not too worried about this place looking great because it's just a separate dimension, but I may try to spruce it up a little bit, down the road and everything. But anyway, we'll plug up our Oh yeah, these don't actually even require power. I don't know what I was thinking. These only require solar sight from to the sun. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and we're going to put out all of these because these don't run terribly quickly necessarily. It is a lot easier since we are in a always day dimension. It does make life a whole lot easier when it comes to using these. Now keep in mind that this lithium, you know, right here it was a liquid, now it's a gas though. So we are going to switch up pipes and we're going to go with our pressurized tubes. And okay, so now that we have our lithium being produced, I was thinking this went in the front. It doesn't. That's the output. We're going to go ahead and hook all these up on the bottom side. There we go. And then we'll just bring them out like so. And these should all be getting lithium, and it's going to slowly transform that lithium into tritium, which is definitely what we're wanting here. So you'll notice it does it at a fairly decent rate, and of course across all 9 of these we have fairly good tritium generation. And right now I noticed that, I mean, this is going to speed up over time. Yeah, we need more water, I'm pretty sure. Yes, we do. Okay. So right now, I mean, honestly, even though it's out of water, it's still keeping up on liquid lithium. So I'll expand that. Right now I just want to cover how to actually make all of these gases and everything. Basically, you can expect to keep expanding the system for quite a bit because it is very, very expensive to get this thing up and running to the degree that we want it, I guess. So anyway, now that we have this tritium being produced, the next thing that we're going to want to do, let's switch gears for just a minute and let's set up our electric pumps. Now, let me grab my water bucket here. And I am going to go ahead. I haven't set one up. I was using that one as a endless water source, but we'll go ahead and set up one here just to have it on hand. And I think what we'll do is we'll set it let's see. We'll set it like right over here. That should be good. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and we'll set up how do I want to do this? If I had pump and pump. Yeah, and we'll do 2, 1, 2. And this is another thing that you'll probably find yourself upgrading. However, I will say that this one is a bit easier to upgrade, this chemical production, because these actually go a lot farther from my experience with them. Tell you what, I actually want to run it up the back side, maybe. Something like this. Okay. And let me grab us a bit of water here so we can go ahead and get our water source blocks started expanding. There we go. Okay. And so now what I want to do is I want to take and set up our electric pumps. So, you know, we've used these before a long time ago in the series. Of course, there are other ways to generate water. However, we don't actually want water. We want these filter upgrades. I mean, I guess technically we want water, but it's different. And by the way, these things don't stack. You only need one of these, though. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this filter upgrade in here. And what it's going to do is it's going to filter heavy water. So if we... Let's see. Okay, so now it's producing heavy water. And let me actually plug the power back up. Or no, let me how do I want to do this? Okay, let me not plug the power up on some of these. That might make it a little bit easier. Because it's going to, of course, if it has power, it's going to take off and just start pumping. And that's what happened. And you want to get that filter upgrade in there fairly quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them there. And then on the opposite sides, we'll do like this. And let me go ahead and grab this stuff. And then we're going to give, of course, all of them our filter upgrades. And basically, what this is going to do, if you notice on this one, it's now producing heavy water instead of just standard water. And that's what we want. Chemically, I guess it's a little bit different. And that's what we're going to be using. And these should all have their filter upgrades. So we'll go ahead and plug that stuff up. And then we'll just run, on this one, we'll just run the power line down and across like that. So now we've got all of these producing heavy water for us. And let me set this stuff to the side. And the next thing that we're going to want is we're going to want to get ourselves some electrolytic separators. And let's go ahead and we'll just set these up. I think just right here, honestly. You won't need a ton of these electrolytic separators, honestly. So we'll set them like that. And then what we'll do is we will pump, let's see. Actually, can I rotate this? No, that's not what I want. Tell you what, let's... I'm actually going to set these up like right here. And we can carry them across. Yeah. We'll do like that for right now. I may end up moving them. But that'll actually be better, I think. And then we're going to use our mechanical pipes. And we're going to pump our heavy water in to this. And you'll notice that it starts splitting this. So let's go ahead and get all of these connected up. Like so. There, 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 and there. So all of these are outputting all of their heavy water into these electrolytic separators. Now this is going to be producing deuterium and oxygen. And we're going to set this for right now. We're going to tell it to dump the excess oxygen because it's not actually something that we care to get. And, oh, you know what? I should probably, now that I think about it, I should probably split these off a little bit like that. And of course, oxygen is going to come out the right side. And these do take... Why is this not... This is not receiving power. I tell you what. Oh, I bet we're out of power. We are. Uh-oh, that's bad. Okay, I'm going to go fix that. Actually, let me see. What do I want to do? Actually, I could probably turn off the ender spawner. Ugh. We're going to have to cut power for a little bit. But once we have this set up, it won't be an issue anymore. It's just a matter of getting this all set up and everything. Then we'll be good. So, let me see. Do we have enough power? Like, that's... I really should have been working on this sooner. But, like, it was like, all of a sudden, one day we had plenty of power coming in. And then the next day it was like, oh, crap. We have a power issue here. Okay, I've got the power situation sorted. Basically, I had to shut off the ore processing plant and our tree cutter. So, we'll probably start running out of charcoal. That's okay. It's not anything I need, really. Because that's mainly going in to feed the brine production that's over there. Which I will probably move this, have the brine production over here, and just pump it over, you know, in the future. So anyway, this should be all running now. You'll notice we're creating the deuterium. And over here, creating deuterium. Now, the oxygen, you're not really going to need that stuff. There's really no point to it. It's the deuterium and the tritium that we're going to need. And honestly, this stuff you can start technically you could start running the reactor. There's still a bit more setup we have to cover, like lasers, in order to get the initial activation started, things like that. We also need to upgrade energy storage that we're going to be covering. That's actually what we're going to be covering next episode, that and lasers. So just be forewarned. And then the episode after that will actually hit start on the reactor and let it go. We'll build it and start it up and everything. But anyway, now that we have these two being produced, the reactor will take these, the tritium and the deuterium, and it will get fed right into the reactor and produce power. But there's another thing that we're going to need to actually get started, and that is we're going to have to combine these. For right now, I'm just going to go with one chemical infuser. I think that might actually be enough. I don't know. We'll see. So we'll go ahead and set that up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pump our stuff out. Let's see, this is going to be the left-hand side on both of these. Yes. Okay, I want to say that this stuff is, in fact, a gas. Yeah. Deuterium is a gas. That's what I was thinking. And so we'll pull this stuff out, and we'll just bring it back. I don't think that would connect, would it? No. Okay, cool. And we'll just bring it out like this and run it over into our chemical infuser. I'm going to actually have to go make some more of these pipes. Oh no, I was looking at the fluid ones. We're good on these. So anyway, that's going to start filling this side up with deuterium. And then we're going to do the same over here with our tritium. And once again, this is a gas as well. So basically, after it hits the rotary condensator, this stuff, like this side is liquid. All the rest of this is gas. And then over here, the heavy water is a liquid. And this side is gas. And then all that stuff over there is liquid. So just a heads up on that. And we'll bring this back. Plug it in, you'll notice that this starts running, and it starts producing DT fuel, which is deuterium tritium fuel, I guess is what it stands for. I'm sure there's a different, more technical name. But anyway, the way this stuff works is this is what's actually going to, that the reactor is actually going to eat up to produce power. But you do not want to pump just DT fuel into your reactor, because what it's going to do is if you only pump DT fuel in, it's just going to eat all that DT fuel and shut down. So you do not want to do that. You need to give it tritium, deuterium, and DT fuel for the maximum efficiency on your reactor. And the reactor itself will create DT fuel once the heat gets up high enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to pump in deuterium, we're going to pump in tritium, and then we're also going to pump in a little bit of DT fuel. I don't know how many of these chemical infusers we'll end up setting up. I don't know if we'll set up all three of these. We'll see. I've kind of got to play around with it and everything and figure out what I want to do for that. Because I think in this series we're going to set up a larger scale reactor than I've ever personally set up. I've done smaller scale ones, but I've never set up like just an absolutely crazy reactor, because they are very expensive and very technical, and you know, RF tools definitely makes it a lot easier because we can have this always day dimension. Because if you have to deal with nighttime, it's way more setup, because you're going to pretty much need to double all your neutron activators, because these, of course, no matter what you do, these are only going to run during the day when it's not raining. So definitely a pain to set up. But you'll notice it's producing DT fuel at a fairly decent rate. Now, probably before too long, well, actually, these have fed everything they have. That's fine. But they're keeping up with this for right now. And of course, that's going to get backed up, and then those are going to get backed up. So we'll have a decent amount of fuel to get started with. And I will probably add in some gas tanks throughout the area, as well as maybe some drums. I do want to set up, before too long, I want to set up a cobble gen to start producing bedrockium and, you know, the different compressed cobbles and all that good stuff. Plus, I want like a more formal cobble gen than what we've got right now. But power is the main focus right this second, because we are I mean, I'm having to shut down machines just to run stuff, you know. So we're definitely in a bad situation as far as power. I might work on setting up just like some kind of a solar setup here. I don't know what I want to go with. If I want to go with the extra utilities, solar generator. Of course, this one is a little bit of setup because you need the hyper energy, and you do need bedrockium for that. So we probably won't be able to set that one up just yet. But I don't know. I'll probably do something. I don't know if I want to get all this automated. It's mainly just a pain to automate it all, but once it's automated, they're really not that expensive. Well, they are expensive, but they're not that expensive. Yeah, they are. They're expensive. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I end up setting it up. Though, honestly, I mean, once we have this thing set up, our power problems are going to be gone. So gone. But anyway, next episode, we're going to be setting up power storage. I'm also going to probably resurrect the Ender Dragon a few times. The only reason I was going to do that before this episode, but our power situation, I cannot charge those draconium blocks right now. So if I do something with temporary power, I may kill the Ender Dragon a few times and start actually upgrading our power transfer across the base with the, of course, the upgraded transceivers and everything from Draconic Evolution. Because actually being able to move more power is going to be very, very important. Because as of right now, I believe, what's the one, I want to say it's a thermal expansion or one of those. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. The cryo stabilized flux duct. I couldn't think of the name of it. This might be what we end up setting up for our power transfer for certain areas of the base at least. Because what I'm thinking we're going to do is we're going to probably end up moving the gases maybe from here over to a reactor building. Because, of course, like the solar neutron activators and stuff, we really need to have them here. And all this stuff, it's kind of bulky, so I'm probably just going to leave it here. And then transfer the gases over to a reactor building. Have the reactor generate power. That power go directly into an energy storage because it is going to be an immense amount of power. Really, the only option that we have for storing that much power is going to be Draconic Evolution. So we'll have it go into that storage multi-block, and then it'll come out and be kind of siphoned around the base, you know, with the Draconic Evolution stuff, as well as probably some cryo-stabilized flux ducts. That might be what I use to actually move the power between the reactor to the Draconic Evolution multi-block, because, of course, that rate is infinite. Also, the mechanism pipes work very, very well. If you are setting this up, I repeat, I do not suggest that you use Ender IO conduits, because, you know, Ender IO conduits are nice and everything, but at the end of the day, they only can pull out 20,480 RF a tick. That's the most that they can really move and, you know, mess with. And this reactor is going to blow 20,000 RF a tick out of the water. That's the worst thing. I wish Ender IO had a better conduit, because that one's kind of low par. Because once we get this reactor set up, if we get it to the scale that I want it, we'll be producing 100 million RF a tick or more. I know top line we can get up to like 350 million a tick. And of course there's 20 ticks in a second. So that's a massive amount of power. That's why we need something like a Draconic Evolution multi-block to really store that much power. I think that's going to be our best route. We could do vibrant capacitors, but I mean, you're talking just absolute ton of them. I do need to finish building or filling out our our substation, energy substation. So what we're going to do, of course, is have all that feed into the multi-block, and then it'll feed out around the base. I'm going to set up probably a couple more substations. I'm thinking we're going to have like 3 or 4, you know, around the base that power is going to be fed out into vibrant capacitor banks. And then from there, that power will be filtered out again around the base. So that's kind of what my goal is anyway. We'll see how it goes. But I think it's time to really step up the power and, you know, really get serious about power production and storage and transfer and all that good stuff. So next episode, we will be doing Draconic Evolution multi-block, power storage multi-block, and we will be messing with lasers from Mekanism. Lasers are really, really important for actually starting up your reactor, because you are going to have to give that reactor an immense amount of heat to actually jumpstart the reactions and cause those nuclear reactions to begin occurring. So I believe you need like 200 million Kelvin in order to jumpstart a reactor. It's an insane amount of heat. So next episode we'll look at how to actually generate that much heat and be able to push it into the reactor and everything. And the draconic storage multi-block. Then the next episode after that, we will actually set up the reactor, start it up, and see the immense amount of power that we're going to be producing. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. I didn't get as much building done as I wanted to before this episode because building all this stuff actually took forever. Absolutely forever, especially all these towers, and I've still got to build more on top of that to really get us where we want to be. So fun times. But anyway, I hope you guys join me for next episode, and we'll jump into a bit of power storage stuff. And until then, as always, do take care, and I hope to see you guys then.